let's contrast that with what Ryan Avery did, the 2012 champion. So what Ryan Avery did was, Ryan Avery, trust is a must, trust is a must. Gentle jog on the stage with the smile the whole time. Then he makes eye contact. 1, 2, 3, right. 1, 2, 3, center. 1, 2, 3. I think he took a half step forward, right? So that entrance, your entrance should be consistent with the energy of your speech at the beginning. If you have a very depressing speech and you run onto stage, it's not going to work. So it's always, you don't have to overthink these things. You always just want consistency. What you would do conversationally with people is what you want to do on stage. It's just like a couple of years ago, I was working on facial expressiveness. And all I would do is smile. And I would talk about horrible things and I would smile. And I would talk about great things and I would smile. And another Toastmaster pointed out to me, you need to have a connection between the words that are coming out of your mouth and what your face is. So if you're angry, you have to look angry. If you're happy, you have to look happy. And the same thing holds true with the energy that you bring with you onto the stage. When you leave the stage also matters, right? So some speakers, right? You have to walk off with the same energy that's resonant with the end of your speech. One of the speakers, I think it was actually Craig Valentine, when he walked off, he went like this. That could have that arrogance at the end of the speech. And he's not an arrogant guy. From the conversations I've had with him, he seems like a really giving, an incredibly giving, in fact, person. But he was just, yeah. And he did give a great speech, but you got to just save the celebration for when you're off the stage. Let's talk a little bit about the use of movement on the stage, because this is actually a bigger stage than was at the district conference. We had a really tiny stage there. Jock Elliott, who won in 2011, is a good example of somebody who used the stage in a very classic way. When people are sitting in the audience and they're looking this way, which way does time flow?
Left to right.
Yep, your left, so my right, but your left to right over here. So Jock started in the middle, and most champions have started in the middle. In fact, most people start in the middle. It would be very interesting and odd and different for someone to start somewhere else, but there might be a reason for it contextually in your speech, so why not go for it? So Jock gets up there, he starts and he introduces his speech, and then he moves across the big speech to the far right, and he has three pieces. He has the friends of my times, the friends of my heart, and the friends of my love, and he talks about his wife at the end. And he's progressing across the stage, and then he comes back to the center of the stage, right? So that's the typical classic way to use the stage, is just to use a chronological progression. It's a lot better than most speakers do, but it's 101. What many speakers do is they'll create characters on the stage. Robert McKenzie, who's been in the contest a few times, he has yet to win, has this brilliant speech, and it's called My Alter Ego. You've seen it, right? He makes basically a 6-foot diameter circle right here that he respects and he never enters, and he walks around it. And what this alter ego is it's the devil that usually lives on his shoulder. He's turned into a gigantic construct that is virtually created on the stage. He can never walk through that because that is there on the stage. And at one point he says that he went inside his alter ego, closed the door, and when he came out, you could hear him again. So the alter ego, he used that alter ego both physically and verbally, which is another thing that you find in a lot of the winning speeches, is the subtlety of physical space but also verbal space. Another thing that many of the speakers have done very well is a lot of people think the stage is just this horizontal axis, but you get a lot more distance if you're going from the back corner of the stage to another corner. Think about how you can incorporate this kind of movement into your speech. Since there's a lot of advanced Toastmasters here, I don't know that there's that many of these kind of people and the wanderers, but obviously you want to move with purpose and with intention, and you stop. When I was talking to Jock, he was telling me one of the things that he likes to do is he likes to walk right up to the edge of the stage, almost with his feet hanging over, because he's trying, even as I come closer to you, I've decreased the personal space between the two of us, which is something the speakers will do. I want everyone to do me a favor. In a second, just put your hands up and hold it up for 3 seconds while I'm making eye contact with you. So we'll try it with you. Put your arm up for a second. I have to make eye contact with you for 3 seconds. When I'm done, I want you to put your arm down, okay? Or when you count to 3. Then you can keep it down. You don't have to pester me with it. But if I break eye contact with you and I come back, be mean to me, count again. All right? Does everyone understand that? Just in your head. 1, 2, 3, and then your hand goes down. All right? Does everyone understand? Hands up. So everyone's hand up. Once I make eye contact with you for 3 seconds, then you put your hand down. You can keep it down. But if I break contact with you, I don't want you to change your hand. And if you never put your hand down, I'm going to move on from you anyway. So what Jock will do, and many of the other expert speakers, is they not only engage the person for 3 seconds, which is about the duration of a sentence or a thought, but you can see I'm also moving towards you, I'm stopping, and I'm making eye contact with you. So if I'm going to get closer to someone on this side of the stage, then I can do it that way. If I want to get closer to someone on this side of the stage, I'll go over there. I was looking at the contest to see if you could walk and talk at the same time. You can all put your hands down now. Speakers have different strategies. If you're in the middle of a portion of your speech, so you have an intro, usually 3 parts and a conclusion. Most speeches are that way. There are exceptions. The speaker will often move a little bit within an area during a portion of the speech. Typically, if they're at a major transition between one of the body pieces, they move square back up again and then start in. So that's a thing to think about with movement, is it's okay to walk and talk generally while you're within a section, but when you're transitioning within sections, you might want to use a little bit more silence. If you watch enough of these, you get crazy analysis in your head. So let's move on to a new topic, which has to do with humor. And this is one I was really curious about, because humor is something that I developed very late in my speaking journey. How many laughs per minute do you think the average World Championship winning speech has in it? What do you think? 2. 2 per minute. How many laughs per minute?
Maybe 9.
4.
4 laughs a minute?
1.
1. Any fractions? 7-minute speech. How many laughs can you sneak in there?
So do you want a minute?
7 minutes and 30 seconds.
1 minute would be what we're doing.
2.5 laughs per minute is the average winning Toastmasters speech. Stand-up comedy is 4+ per minute. Very rare. One speaker ever did that. A lot of people think it's Darren LaCroix because he's Mr. Laughman, but it wasn't Darren. Do you know who it is?
Ed Tate.
You know, yeah. So Ed Tate had 4.9 laughs per minute, which is stunning. How do you do that, right? Do you actually get 4.9 every minute? Or you can't do 0.9, but whatever, 5 a minute. You could, I guess. You tell 9/10 of a joke just before. What you do is you riff. So you get a laugh, and then you kind of pause there, and then you think about how do I make this even more extreme to get a second laugh, and do it one more time to get a third laugh. Most speakers stop at that point because it's really, really difficult to get a 4th or a 5th laugh. There's the magical rule of 3 that is pervasive in speaking. That's one of the places where it exists. So you riff and you get to 3 consecutive laughs. Those 3 laughs cover you for a while, that you can then get serious and you don't have to have a laugh for quite some time. No speaker has ever won with less than how many laughs per minute?
2.5, I think.
The average winning was 2.5.
Oh, average winning.
The max was 4.9. Was Ed. Darren was 4, close to 4, so he still is in great shape. What was the minimum? What did no one ever win with less than?
1.
Yeah, one is a good guess. I think it's 0.8 or something like that. But 1. Okay, who knows? So you basically have to have 1 laugh a minute, or you cannot win the international speech contest.
Now, who's analyzing these things? Is there like a John Madden of...
I guess the John Madden is standing before you, so I wrote a little program, and every time I heard a laugh, I pressed the space bar, and it counted laugh, laugh, laugh as I watched these speeches endlessly over and over and over again, and I counted how many laughs per minute. More fun statistics, all right?
Yeah.
How long? So it's 5 to 7 minute speech. You're disqualified if you're under 4:30, or you're disqualified if you go over 7:30. How long is the average winning speech? 7. We need some seconds also. 6:30, 6:50. Someone said over 7.
7:02.
7:50.